very many schools. So we're going to be looking at that and how Uganda has gone on to adapt to the different changes, the different business dynamics, to make sure that we keep on developing, given the fact that we have small, medium enterprises which contribute a huge percentage on Uganda's GDP, and of course, most of those people being in the informal sector, and of course, also in the formal sector as well. And of course, when it comes to entrepreneurship, it also covers all that, the different innovation. We've seen different hubs come up, different training. So definitely Uganda has really improved in socioeconomic and socioeconomic spheres, which has actually been influenced by entrepreneurship as in the country. Well, over the years, Uganda has continuously been an entrepreneurial hub. Yeah, in terms of innovation, we've seen people coming up in terms of when you look at technology, IT, we've seen different innovations coming in, developers, inventors. You've seen different applications, away from what we had then, but now people are evolving mostly in technology because we are in a digital era. So definitely that is where entrepreneurship will revolve around in this era, in this age, in this time of us getting to know and getting to economic development. Now, of course, technology has been a key driver in entrepreneurship, talking about marketing, talking about social media, talking about enhancing our capability in terms of entrepreneurship, using technology, using digital platforms, for instance, social media, which are helping actually promote our country, Uganda, and the different innovations that we've come up, and of course, hence attracting foreign investors. Yeah, so definitely keep up the good work. Well, of course, in leveraging technology for social impact and economic growth, this underscores the immense potential of Uganda's talent in shaping a brighter future for generations to come. The future is technology, the future is AI, so trust me, if you want to innovate, if you want to invent something, do that in line with technology, because that is the space that we're heading into. Well, of course, here, according to the Global Entrepreneurship Mentor, Uganda has shown positive trends in entrepreneurship innovation, early stage entrepreneurial activity, and established business ownership rates. And of course, looking at fear of failure remains a challenge, but the motivation index is high, indicating a strong desire for entrepreneurship. Yes. Of course, like we said, we've been talking about business. People always have a fear of when I start this, it's not going to come up, so there is always that fear that hinders most entrepreneurs from actually reaching their goal. Yeah, mostly in their first year, that's the first birthday, they don't make it because probably they did not do enough research, or probably they did not have enough capital, or probably they did not get profits out of it. But trust me, we have a high zeal when it comes to entrepreneurship. Yeah, and of course we see the business service sectors and innovation rate are also noteworthy. They have also kept on evolving over time. And of course, in this looking at a space of these 10 years, trust me, there's been a lot of evolution in terms of entrepreneurship. Yeah, so we've seen different startups come up, the different startups mostly for entrepreneurs, for business people, and of course most of them encouraging women, the youth, to get involved, because those are most of the vulnerable those are the vulnerable people that we have: the women, the youth, and the children. Okay, for career, let's say women and youth. So there are a lot of startups that have been and I've come up in Uganda mostly to in a form of eradicating poverty, because in that you're creating employment for people, and of course people earn income. At the end of the day, they're able to fend for their families there in Uganda. So definitely, I believe we have a lot to do. You know, we had challenges regarding taxes recently, so I believe that was resolved. So everyone, if you're in business, if you're a newcomer, I have to say this, you have to pay your dues, you have to pay your taxes, just to avoid inconveniences. Yes, just avoid inconveniences of in the future, so that you don't fall culprits. You know, if you find your bills are high, and then you start asking government to intervene, pay your dues, and trust me, you're good to go in Uganda. So definitely, we have to embrace the form of entrepreneurship that we have. We've gone beyond, you know, doing business. We've now started inventing things. You know, we see people making things out of. We've seen people making hair braids out of things, fabrics. We've seen people coming up with different innovations, mostly the youth, shoemaking. So very many creatives. We are a very creative country. It's just that we are a country that needs motivation. We are lying idle, and therefore we need to come out, because we've had different foreigners, actually investors, come in to actually support us, but at the end of the day, things do not go as expected. So we need more entrepreneurs, create more job opportunities for the youth who are lying idle, waiting to be employed. Yeah, so even if you're a youth out there and you have something that can really help the nation, please put it out there, and trust me, it will be looked into and recognized and made. So that is what I would urge you on a daily to do, so that you never know, you could be the talk. You could be the talk of the day in years to come. Well, of course, it's 10 minutes past 7 a.m. I think we're going to see what is happening to the press. Well, of course, I'm going to be looking at the New Vision and the Daily Monitor, because we're not able to have the papers, but just going to see what is happening here. Yeah, a lot happens online, and it's the fastest means of communication. Trust me, if you want information, just get online. Well, when you talk about business, and of course I'm looking at the impact of the proposed tax on sale of land. Yes, that is also something to look into, the proposal. And of course, the intention and focus of the coming year's budget is on the full monetization of the economy of Uganda through agriculture, industrialization, expanding and broadening services, digital transformation, and market access. So that is where the money is going to focus on. We're going to focus on agriculture, industrialization, and digital transformation and market access. So that is where the big money is going to be allocated. Yeah, so we want to make sure as much as we can to promote Uganda, because now we're having agriculture as a forefront. We have tourism as well. We are also advocating for value addition. Then there's also need for market for the products that we have, for the produce that we have, because a lot of farmers, a lot of entrepreneurs have found it challenging, for market. Someone has the goods, but they do not have the market for it. Yeah, so that is why we say we have to invest more in research every day that goes by, because it's important. It keeps us informed in whatever whatever is happening in all over the world, you know. And of course, CID boss Museveni, we know funders of, yes, and of course, that is it also as well. Looking at, yes, and of course, malaria fight, scientists shift focus to vaccine. Yeah, well, malaria has spread. Actually, very many people are prone to malaria, so do just the simple precautions, really. Have a net, close the windows early, clear the bushes around you, because this is a rainy season, so mosquitoes hibernate in very wet areas, so you have to be very extremely careful so that you keep proper hygiene, not to be inconvenienced. The cost of sickness, yeah, is quite heavy if you think of it. Now, of course, looking at beyond new measures, beyond new tax measures, government also proposed some exemptions. Yeah, that is according to the taxes here. And of course, for the past 3 weeks now, there is no doubt tax has been the hottest item. And of course, looking at IFRS and, you know, your yes. Yeah, so also some of the companies that were exempted as well are also there. And of course, unit closes, yes. And of course, looking at President Museveni's money economy is alive. That is according to Minister Nabakoba, right there. It was at a graduation ceremony. Yes, yeah. So there's a lot of happening, and of course, global tourism revenue to total up to $5.8 trillion this very year. This is an interesting story, actually, if you want to take time and report. Now, of course, the report from the latest World Tourism Cities Federation Summit is upbeat about the global tourism growth this year, forecasting revenue to reach 139.6%. That is beyond the normal percentage, if you're to think of it, yeah. So the report here predicted that the international tourism arrivals would amount to 13.57, which is approximately to 14 billion in number. This year, this very year. So a lot is expected. A lot of tourists are expected in and out of different countries. Yeah, so expect money as a country, Uganda, because now that we are at par, there's no global pandemic, people are allowed to move. And of course, these restrictions have been, some countries have loosened up restrictions, yeah. So it's now going to be easier for some countries to move in and out of different countries. So that is also one of the benefits of loosening up restrictions, in terms of that, yes. Well, of course, poor structures forces Ugandan pupils to DRC Congo. Oh, well, okay. Schools, yeah, and of course LDC grapples with big numbers amid low funding, yes, and of course looking at internal squabbles, rogue leadership tribunal, and of course PDM execution at 63%. That is according to the National Resistance Movement. Yes, 63%. The penetration is at 63%. Yeah, now of course the revolution findings revealed that the majority of beneficiaries of the PDM are female, which accounts to 55%. Okay, this is good. And 45% for male. Now, of course, of these special interest groups like youth, which cover 29%, elderly with 13%, and persons with special needs or disabilities with 7%, are also considered as beneficiaries of the PDM. So we have women, we have men, we have the youth, we have the elderly, and people with disabilities. So those are the beneficiaries. And of PDM, looking at how women have the biggest land share right here with 55%, Besides findings, citing the progress attained, yeah, so that is the performance of PDM so far, and we shall see. We want it to penetrate and reach in the deep far ends. Now, of course, yeah, that is according to the manifesto of NRM, yeah, but the main thing here was a 65% execution of the PDM, and of course, us looking at Elon Musk, AI needs UN oversight. Yes, and of course, 2026 polls, Ugandans vote in 38 countries. Yeah, that and more when you grab yourself a copy. And of course, Aga Khan University opens specialty center in Kampala. And of course, the purpose is to detect neuromuscular abnormalities, the brain, talking about the brain, and other services would include endoscopy, colonoscopy, hemodialysis, hemorrhage, people blood related, and of course nephrology services, alongside access to medical specialists in diverse fields. This is Aga Khan University, making it a point that everyone benefits from this as well. We need more brain surgeons, yeah, just because it's a complicated thing, the brain is quite complicated, imagine. Now, of course, government, parliament asked to fast-track anti-counterfeit bill. Yes, that and more. And of course, registration mandatory for physical planners to practice under new law. Registration is mandatory for physical planners. Yes, physical planning, talking about infrastructure, roads, housing, those and many more. So those are also part of physical planning. So a lot is happening actually in Uganda, and of course, Speaker Anita Mong also honors beacon of justice, that is John Kagezi, who passed on just a few days ago. Of course, Museveni experts Botswana leader discuss conservation of wildlife. This is quite interesting, because the president of Kenya and that is Uhuru Kenyatta, I beg your pardon, sorry, William Ruto actually was in discussion with the president on how they're going to partner in terms of tourism. Yeah, so it's going to be a long journey from Kenya to Uganda, or from Uganda to Kenya. You're crossing, you're looking at you're looking at the different sceneries. So it's going to be a good partnership. If at all it works, trust me, we shall find ourselves collaborating as the East African, making it easy to access for the different tourists to access different destinations in the country. It's just like a continuation from one country to another. Yeah. So the president, Botswana, Ian Khama, was at the State House, and of course they discussed matters regarding conservation of wildlife. They talked about Karamoja sub-region. Yeah, that is also they also plan to launch a carbon trade project in the region, and the profits will be shared among the government, the local community, and the organization. Yeah, so of course there was the daughter, Diana Karjire, Diana, yeah, also there. Yeah, so the beautiful conversations, and of course keen for advocating for wildlife and environment. Yes, so the president also emphasized that he's keen on that as well, because we're trying to boost tourism. Yeah, so how about we partner? Now the government is trying to give those who were misled a soft landing by replacing rice growing in swamps with fish farming to get an alternative livelihood. for those people, preferably fish ponds at the periphery of the swamps that will make them earn more money than rice growing. So if you've been a rice grower, trust me, you're going to, but anyway, we shall see, comparing fish and rice, which one is more profitable. But according to the president, fish farming is quite profitable to him. So opportunity is going to be given for those that are interested in fish farming. So that is what is happening in Uganda. Like I said, more partnership are coming in, talks are being drawn. Yeah, and of course, Muslims rage as principal judge sanctions Uganda Muslim Society case file. Yeah, and of course, President Museveni commissions in Chivo Stadium. Yes, so a lot is happening. Haiti transitional council sworn in after months of violence. Yes, that is across the borders of Uganda, and of course, Kenya's latest disruptive floods. Yeah, and of course, the wet season is all over. Trust me, we're not the only people that are receiving rains in East Africa. Other countries are also grappling with not only rains, but also floods. Yeah. So 23 minutes past 7 a.m. I'm going in for a short commercial break. I'll come back with what is happening in East Africa and across the borders. Do stick around. I'll be back shortly.
Smart 24, driving business.
This is Jordan. When it comes to classwork, Jordan is magic. Jordan shines. Jordan makes his peers better. Jordan is a true leader. White Star Magic family. Be a leader. Be magic.
Want to elevate your entertainment? Then add Showmax to your DSTV subscription at no extra cost. Showmax is not a TV channel. It's an on-demand video streaming service on showmax.com. To add Showmax to your DSTV subscription, simply use the My DSTV app. Select Add Showmax. The app screen will confirm that you qualify for Showmax at no extra cost as a DSTV premium subscriber. Now you can enjoy exclusive shows and movies. Add Showmax to elevate your entertainment.
Rachel Rich. The Queen Cobra, the password of the money, the original no spare parts, the 11th commandment, the question and the answer.
Osmosis. I know you want money, but I'm also broke.
Ah, no. Money is not an object. These days, Momo sorts me out anytime. In fact, my sister, let me also sort you out.
Really?
I've just sent you instructions on how to get a loan on Momo. I'm here for you. Can I borrow some chips?
When you need a loan, you've got MTN Momo. We're Sotinge. Use the Momo app or dial *165*5# for all quick loans. Choose from the different loan options from our partners and get one that works for you. Together, we're unstoppable.
The tech giant Apple has unveiled a mixed reality headset called Vision Pro, its first entirely new product in 8 years. The US tech giant claims the device is the most advanced personal electronic device ever. Reassembling a pair of sky goggles, it features a glass 23 million pixel screen which covers the upper face and is controlled using the wearer's eyes, hands and voice. Vision Pro is labeled as mixed reality as it combines virtual reality, in which the wearer is fully immersed in the digital world, with augmented reality where digital images are overlaid onto the real world. The device, which is the first new product since the Apple Watch was launched in 2015, blends a video feed from the outside world with a virtual world displayed on screens inside the headset. Now, it is set to rival Meta's Quest Pro from last year and Quest 3, which was announced last week. Today marks the beginning of a new era for computing, said Apple's CEO Tim Cook as he launched the new device at the company's annual software developer conference on Monday.
Smart 24, driving business.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. My name is Marcia Katsime, and of course today being the last day of the week, I hope you're already on your way to work. Yes, because starting from next month, we're going to have a little bit of, we are going to have breaks into that, starting from Wednesday being a public holiday, then to census, then to, a lot actually. So prepare. Next month is going to be a little bit relaxed for you. Well, looking at what is happening across the borders of West Africa, Kenya's economy to overtake Angola, that is according to the IMF forecasts. Yeah, now of course Kenya will overtake Angola to become the fourth largest economy in the sub-Saharan Africa. Wow, interesting actually. East Africa representing. Behind South Africa, we have Nigeria and Ethiopia. That is according to IMF. Yeah, and of course the forecast sees Kenya maintaining that position until 2029. Quite impressive, don't you think? Now, of course, last year, Kenya's GDP was estimated to have grown to $108.9 billion. Which is approximately to 15.1 trillion. Yes, yeah, and of course from 113.7 billion dollars, yeah, in 2022. So there has been a growth in Kenya's GDP. Yeah, quite interesting actually. Now, Ethiopia, which has extended its lead over Kenya, is projected to overtake Nigeria in 2 years to become the second largest economy in the region. South Africa being number one, then Nigeria. Yeah. Now, of course, the size of the Ethiopian economy, which is smaller than Kenya's, was smaller than Kenya's in 2020, continued to grow and is estimated to have increased to $159.7 billion, comparing 2022-2023. Yes. Now, of course, Ethiopia's economy is also expected to hold steady at the second position for the 3 years to 2029. Well, we do not know what the IMF uses to assess these projections, but who knows? They are right. They are right. Yeah. Looking at Kenya's progress, yeah, it's the first in East Africa as well. And of course, but there are fears that Ethiopia's domestic GDP or value for value of goods and services produced in the country is overstated. Now, of course, the country emerged from a 2-year civil war that ravaged its economy in 2020 and is one of Africa's country that has defaulted on one of its debt obligation, that is Ethiopia. So we could say this is good news for Kenya, coming in from the IMF, going to be among the 4 largest economies, looking at from maybe this year till 2029, and of course they will be assessing thereafter how it's going to be. You never know, in years to come Uganda could also be one of the leading economies in sub-Saharan Africa if we actually add value to our groups, have working partnerships with different countries. You never know, we could be among them. Now, of course, setting our eyes to Tanzania, as Lake Tanganyika fish stock down by 18%. Well, of course, fish production in Lake Turkana is dwindling by 18% in the last, has been dwindling by 18% for the last 4 years, which has been affected mainly by illegal and unreported and unregulated fishing, which is also the case with Uganda. We underfish young fish. Yeah, and of course the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries, that is Chief Fisheries Officer Mr. Simto said that the production went down from 104,178 tons in 2020 to 85,180 tons last year, and was also affected by overfishing and climate change. Well, of course, in his statement, he said that these combination factors are major causes of declining yields, and of course, he said that these factors affected the fish production on the country's side and Lake Tanganyika. Well, according to him, according to the research institute, which revealed that Lake Tanganyika, part of Tanzania, has around 144,690 tons of population of the fish and sardines. Now, additionally, the chief fisheries of Katavi region has experienced a worse harvest of fish that fell by 45% from 25,895 tons in 2020 to 14,335 tons. Well, meanwhile, the government has also suspended fishing activities in Lake Tanganyika for 3 months from last week to boost the fish production in the world's largest freshwater. And of course, for the 3-month suspension, they are aimed to increasing fish production, controlling illegal fishing, curbing environmental degradation, and ultimately increasing productivity among fish communities. Yeah, so that is what is happening along Lake Tanganyika. So they have been suspended for 3 months to let the fish grow and maybe have an increase in production in fish. Yeah, because the more you fish the fish also, you don't give time. When you overdo something, you don't give it time to grow, you don't give it time to have space. At the end of the day, you're going to be in scarcity. So they've given themselves a 3 months period, suspension, I should say, so that they can get back in line and in shape. Well, that brings us to the end of what is happening in East Africa. Let's see what is happening across the borders. Well, Morocco is aiming to turn to North African Kingdom into an aviation hub. Well, of course, Morocco's efforts to grow the country's $2 billion aerospace industry is part of a long push to transform the largely agrarian economy through subsidizing manufacturers of planes, trains, and automobiles. Now, the CEO of Air Marco said that the global international supply chain is suffering. Of course, Morocco has a good opportunity and a good positioning in terms of aeronautic industry. Now, of course, Safran Aircraft Engines sends Boeing 737s and Airbus 320s to repair plant outside of Casablanca every 6 to 8 years, and then sends them back to airlines from countries including Brazil, Saudi Arabia, United Kingdom, and Ireland. Now, the French engine manufacturer is also among the 130 aerospace companies active in Morocco, where parts ranging from wings to fuselages are produced in an industry that employs 42% women, a portion of the industry lobbyists say is larger than its European and North American manufacturing industry counterparts. Now, through many companies, though many companies are eyeing Morocco as a source of comparative cheap labor, the industry and government have worked to actually train skilled workers in IMA, an institute for aeronautics and professions in Casablanca. Now, Morocco is doing all it can to satisfy investors with their needs for qualified human resources. That is according to the Minister of Transport and Logistics in Morocco, Mohamed. And of course, still, the Safran CEO also noted that they will have access to the well-qualified talents who will be trained. And of course, looking at the key players for achieving goals to raise this competitiveness. Well, away from that, Nigeria is seeking $2.52 billion in World Bank loans. Yeah, and of course, Nigeria said it is seeking up to $2.2 billion from the World Bank. Now, of course, speaking following the IMF World Bank spring meetings in Washington, D.C. over the weekend, the Nigerian government is aiming to issue diaspora bonds after later this year to attract foreign exchange into the country. Now, the World Bank loans would comprise $1.5 billion in development policy, financing, and $750 million in program for result financing. Now, Nigeria has faced a dollar exchange shortage that pushed its naira currency to record lows. Versus the US dollar this year, and of course though it has since rebounded. Now, of course, the country is also dealing with high unemployment, looking at the financing through, looking at the